right, so today we're going to talk neurodivergence, ADHD, and autism specific to corrective action. So we've all had to do a write-up at some point. If you're in any sort of management or HR, you've had to deal with write-ups and getting the report filed. Does it go on their record? Does it not? And I want to give you some key guidelines on how to coach because it should always be coaching. If you are not coaching, then that is the first thing you should work on as a manager because coaching is building somebody up and building upon their current skill set and adding to and refining their current skill set and means of operation. For example, if somebody doesn't tell you that we had some rambunctious dogs in the background, but if somebody doesn't tell you that you are doing something wrong and why, if they just say, oh, you did this wrong, but they don't give you any sort of corrective action, how to fix it in the future, then what good does that do you except, okay, now I've got to figure out what I did wrong. Instead, giving them the knowledge of what should be done, how the procedure was performed incorrectly, and how to perform it correctly, that is valuable information. And when I say procedure, it could be a series of procedures. Okay, the difference between a chef and a cook is a chef can do a whole bunch of things at the same time and holds a different depth of language and knowledge of culinary arts. So treat the workplace in the same fashion, meaning you want to cultivate your workforce. Because right now, a lot of the workforce does not feel appreciated, especially within the ADHD and autistic communities, because we are horribly disparaged. Like as a community, compared to many, many other communities out there, we are horribly disparaged because we act and perform a little bit differently. In a lot of cases, we will overperform, we will overshoot the marks and quotas that you give us. Like that's a very common staple of neurodivergence specific to ADHD and autism. Okay. If you want to maximize that driving force, number one, ADHD, I'm going to have to cover that one as far as corrective action in its own episode. Same thing with autism because there are nuances to both. But in general, everything should be coaching. It shouldn't be disciplinary action and it shouldn't be left to, okay, you did this wrong, don't do it again. And of course, that's a staple of any management. If you're not doing that, if you're not coaching, you're doing it wrong. And I will stand by this until my dying breath. I have led and created without incentive, meaning there's no extra incentive for these people to follow me and to do what I ask. And yet I took teams that were struggling and stores that were struggling, and I trained top regional teams consistently. So I know what I'm talking about from a managerial standpoint, and I will back this up. I still have the emails for it. But on the same token, when it comes to your neurodivergent workforce, you have what's called, you'll find that we are conflict avoidant. We avoid conflict, we avoid confrontation. That is a staple of being ADHD and autistic because a lot of us, like I have yet to meet one of us that isn't traumatized by life. Meaning we learned, okay, we need to mask, we need to hide, we need to not show our true selves. And that's unfortunate because some of us are very bright, some of us will come in smiling every single day, and we will overperform. So the first step is to let them know, hey, I'd like to talk to you. There's nothing bad here. There's just coaching. So saying that coaching is desired, saying that we're coming in for a coaching session, that eases our minds about approaching you. It takes away a lot of the apprehension and makes us more receptive to what you're saying instead of trying to think ahead of what you're saying and think, okay, what did I do? What can I do better? How can I correct this? How can I say something that is going to make this better? You'll find a lot of those thoughts are going through our heads if we're being honest with you. I mean, it goes through your heads. It just goes through our heads a lot quicker because of how we're built and what a lot of us have gone through. Okay, so dancing around the subject enough. And you'll find that happens too, is we will come up with some incredible stories or incredible ways to explain things. Those of us that are what you all would consider higher functioning in the past, we don't like that term. But this is to give you guys a point of reference as non-neurodivergent individuals that are managing people like myself. So we mask at a very high level. A lot of us do. And in that masking, we often find ourselves having to orate a story to save our jobs, to stop something bad from happening. And so we're already walking in with apprehension, with past experiences that were not the greatest. Next would be to greet us with a smile and a handshake. I know that seems like just commonplace, or maybe it doesn't even cross your mind like, okay, I'm here to do a job, right? And think of it this way. I got a great analogy for you. You go into a doctor. Doctor's just completely standoffish. Okay, what are your symptoms? Doesn't look at you or anything like that. Okay. Yeah, we're going to do this thing over here. And you want to tell the doctor, but what about the we'll worry about that later on. Okay, we'll worry about that later on. Like that's a very dismissive doctor. And there's a huge there's numerous complaints going around there being spoken out loud about doctors that have a poor bedside manner. Well, as an HR representative and as a manager, your job is to be able to communicate with the employees. That's just a given. That's part of what the job entails. And by having a great bedside manner, meaning you got to smile and you shake their hand and say, hey, go on, let's have a seat real quick. Using the term real quick in there, even if it's going to be a half an hour, hopefully not 45 minutes. Try to keep, that's another thing is time frame. If it lasts more than half an hour, it can be draining for us, especially if it's critical in nature or critiquing in nature. Critical is to not offer a solution. Critique is to offer a solution. So you invite them over for a coaching session. You greet them with a smile and a handshake. You say, hey, please have a seat. We're going to talk about some of what you've been doing good and how we can help you improve. That opens up the door to, number one, they're already apprehensive, like, okay, what did I do wrong? Okay, that's going to be natural for people of my ilk, is to assume that something was done wrong. But by having a good bedside manner, you can ease a lot of the tensions and create a more receptive attitude from us. So it goes from defensive to receptive. And we can absorb all that information because we're going to be replaying that conversation in our heads, whatever conversation we have with you, for probably days. Like in our free time, that conversation is going to be lingering in our thoughts. And that's just how we are. We are overthinkers. So use that. And the more methodically you approach it, meaning try to approach it like you're talking to an AI. And I know that sounds counterintuitive to bedside manner, but follow me on this. Okay, so your metrics over here were not the greatest. These were fantastic, or these were good or superior, or point out the good first. Let's say these ones over here, they're a little bit lacking. And so I got a couple ideas for you. See, I just made it fun, didn't I? I didn't say, hey, I'm going to tell you what to do, and these are ways that you can fix this. Well, fix denotes negativity, and we're already prone to that. But saying, listen, I got an idea for you. That makes it a little bit more friendly. It makes it more exciting. It improves the bedside manner of being able to communicate with the other person, recognizing that they've probably had a hard life or they've been masking and they've been going home feeling exhausted from masking the entire day just to get along with everybody else. And if you haven't followed my earlier videos on how to manage like the crash course, go rewatch that. That is very solid for bedside manner because you want to be able to approach them and understand who is neurodiverse in your workforce. So you invite them in by basically recognizing, okay, we want to know, okay, how can we make your life a little bit easier while working for us? Because if you need to stim, you can stim. Do you need some accommodation? Recognizing those early on shows us that you are a safe person to talk to. And that's important. So once you improve the bedside manner to where we know we can talk to you, that turns the conversation to, okay, this metric over here, I've got an idea for you. I think if you were to try this, or try this, or try this, give us at least two options, two things to try out. Because we're probably going to try both, or all three, or however many you list, but I'd keep it down to three. And we're probably going to respond to it very well. We're going to say, okay, I like that idea. I like that idea. And we might even kick an idea back too. And that would be if we kick something back to you, that would be us expressing an accommodation that would make that task easier for us. Like, yeah, I could do this, but what do you think about doing this too, or doing it in this order? And if you think that order would work and would still get the task accomplished, then that's where we should stay. That's the sweet spot right there. Is okay. I hear your accommodations. They don't seem too crazy. You've probably thought them through during this whole conversation. I like them. And if you can give that acknowledgement, like what I just said, to them and agree, watch their performance improve. Watch their happiness around the area improve, because you just turned a conversation from something that could be negative, like, okay, we need you to fix these metrics right here, we need you to fix those. You turned that into, okay, I've got a few ideas on how to improve these metrics, but this one's over here really good, but what can we do here? Now, that also brokers another conversation. Is, let's say you can't meet in the middle, and they say, okay, this is difficult. Or maybe they ask you, okay, but what about this one barrier that's stopping me from doing this thing that you just recommended? Give us a listen. We probably have ideas on how to make things easier already, because again, we are overthinkers. We are probably thinking through these problems and trying to imagine, okay, how can we make this better? How can we do this better? How can I improve? And if you open up the door to allowing them to talk and to really express their ideas to you, watch for those ideas, because you will find our overthinking minds can be very, very beneficial. And for example, I've streamlined trainings for a remote environment for a department within the state. Okay. I came up with an idea to create training modules, and then created a training module teaching all these other managers how to do so within minutes of their day. Meaning you actually have this step by step that's interactive, visual, you can add auditory to it. And it all used a simple program that everybody has called PowerPoint. Okay, it's not that difficult. And we come up with ideas like that because we use the resources that we have in order to better accommodate. Okay, here's how we can use these free resources available to us to solve this problem. So we're just going to recap real quick. Number one, do a pleasurable invite. Okay, do a pleasant invite. Say, hey, we've got this idea for you, or we've got a coaching session we'd like to have with you, or I have a coaching session I'd like to have with you. And then, seems my clients are coming off the chains. You'll find a lot of us are entrepreneurs too. So if we're working for you, that means we like your company, because a lot of us are finding our own ways to make money. And I'm teaching people like myself how to make money on their own. But that centers around, like, a lot of us would love the structured environment of a workplace. I know I'm sidebarring for a second, but this is kind of important. We would love the structured environment and safety and security of a solid workplace that appreciates us. However, a lot of us are traumatized from having to mask and having to just go home exhausted all the time. I know what that feels like, to go home, pass out, and then do your daily chores, like, washing yourself in the shower or cooking your dinner. And then maybe having the time left to enjoy your favorite show before going to sleep and doing that all over again. That can get depressing if the environment isn't great. If the environment is like high school or junior high or elementary school, where we're made fun of or pushed around or bullied. And so by creating a safe work environment, you will see we'll stop looking over our shoulders so much. In fact, that's part of the book that I wrote, and it's going to be coming out November to December. But when we stop looking over our shoulder, you will see our productivity rise dramatically. And you will see our enjoyment rise and our ability to communicate with others rise. Like, you will see an overall market improvement. So, number one is invite them in for a coaching session. Number two is to shake their hands with a smile, tell them to have a seat, and then engage with, okay, I have an idea. Like, that's a good way to start, is I have an idea on how to make your metrics even better. So let's explore those metrics, and then methodically go through those metrics line by line, highlighting the ones that are good and saying, you know what, we can improve this. And I've got an idea for that. And then pass on the ideas that have worked for other employees, but open the door and the room for feedback from your ADHD and autistic employees, because that's going to make all the difference. And listen to what they have to say. You'll find that those employees will probably not overreach because they're already apprehensive. but keep it to I have an idea, listen to what they have to say, see if you can meet in the middle, and last but not least, okay, so coaching session, smile, handshake, and say, I have an idea. Number two, go through their metrics and just lay it out. Say, you're not in trouble or nothing like that. I have an idea on how to make things better. Pitch your idea, then listen to any counter that they have. Open the door and say, hey, do you have any ideas on this? Or is this not feasible for you? Are there any accommodations you need? Those extra few seconds and mentions make all the difference. And then last but not least, part with a smile and a handshake. Let them know, okay, I look forward to seeing your metrics go up. And if you need any more help from me, just ask if you need some ideas, ask if you need accommodation, ask. Open the doors of communication. That's going to make all the difference for your neurodivergent employees. I hope this helped, and look out for the next episode. Okay, and a quick sidebar, besides like and subscribe down below. Because this is going to be a series. I'm going to be covering multiple different topics as a former manager, as somebody trained in HR, bachelor's degree, and I used to be an entrepreneur as well. So I will be covering multiple different topics as far as working with and managing your neurodivergent workforce. But on the same token, if you want to get to know how we think and how we perceive the world, on TikTok, I go by Autistic Commando, same as YouTube. And on TikTok is where we get a little bit more personal. I interact with others of the neurodivergent community. And if you want to see how we think, if you want to get to know us on a more personal level and maybe get some insight, I've got a lot of videos out there. And some of them dive into the esoteric and whatnot, because you'll find that a lot of us have special interests. And a lot of us are experts in at least one special interest. But remember to like, subscribe, and if you want to get the updates, this channel is pretty much going to be dedicated almost solely to, at least for the next month or so, it's going to be dedicated to this HR and management series for managing your ADHD and neurodivergent workforce. So make sure to ring that bell, like, and subscribe. And if you want to get to know us a little bit more personally, go to TikTok, Autistic Commando.